Well, hello, dragons. Hey, happy Wednesday. Happy April Fool. Did anybody pull any tricks on you? Ha ha, me either. Now, people try and trick me, but I try and not get tricked. Anyways, I hope you're having a great Wednesday. I know I'm having a great Wednesday, and it's my favorite part of the day that time I get together with you guys and share a book. Hey, before I read today's stuff, though, I want to tell you something. I went back and I was paying attention to what I was reading. I listened to the videos that I played on these. And I've got to tell you, I've learned something about this book. At Dudley, an important part for us is safety first, own your choices, always kind and respect. There is some stuff that gets mentioned in here that is not always kind and is not very respectful. And in fact, I don't know how it got by me. I was so busy about figuring out how to run the videotape and do those kinds of things. The stupid smelly bus, stupid, that's not a word we use to identify things. And I know there's been some references to, I hate him or those kinds of things. That's not the way we would talk at Dudley. So as we make our way through the rest of this book, and there's really some fun little parts in here, I'm going to be doing some editing as the narrator. I'm going to change some of those words. I want to make them words that follow our expectations, owning our choices, being always kind, and showing respect. So if you hear some changes in the words, don't worry. That's me. That's me owning my choices and taking care of the responsibility. We have chapter 5, principle. I know I'm going to like that. And chapter 6, a good hider. So let's find out how those work. Here we go. Got to get to the right pages. Chapter 5, Principal. After we left the nurse, we went to the main office. That's where the boss of the school lives. His name is Principal. Principal is a baldy. Oh, wait a minute. Not this one. He talked to us. Then Lucille raised her hand. My brother said that last year he had to come down here and you yelled at him, and now he's not allowed to beat up kids at recess anymore. Principal kind of laughed, and then he held the door for us to leave. After that, we walked to the water fountain, and Mrs. let us get a drink. I didn't get a long one, though, because kids kept tapping on me. Hurry up, girl, they said. Yeah, only guess what? That's not even my name, I told them. Her name is Junie Bumblebee, said Lucille. Then she laughed. But I didn't think it was a very funny joke. After that, Mrs. showed us where the bathrooms were. There's 2 kinds of bathrooms in our school, a boys' kind and a girls' kind. I can't go in the boys' kind, though, 'cause no girls allowed. That's why. I tried to peek my head in there, but Mrs. snapped her finger at me. The only boy who got to go in the bathroom was the boy who I can beat up. He was jiggling around very much. Then he started running all over the place, and he was holding the front of his pants. William, said Mrs., are you having an emergency? Then William yelled, yes, and he ran right in there. The rest of us walked back to our room. I touched Lucille's fingernails. She said that her fingernail polish is named Very, Very Berry. I would like to have my fingernails red too, I said, but I'm only allowed to have the kind of polish that makes them look shiny. Its name is Clear. Clear is the color of spit. I hate clear, said Lucille. Me too, I told her. And also, I don't like yellow, which is the color of that silly, smelly school bus. Lucille nodded her head. My brother said when you ride home on the bus, kids pour chocolate milk on your head. Then, all of a sudden, my stomach felt very squeezy again, 'cause I had to ride the bus home. That's why. Why did you have to tell me that for, Lucille? I said, kind of grouchy. After we got back to room 9, we did some more work. It was a game to help us learn each other's names. I learned Lucille, and also a girl named Charlotte, and another girl named Grace. Then I learned a boy named Ham, which we eat at Grandma Miller's. Pretty soon, Mrs. clapped her loud hands together. Okay, everyone, gather up your things. It's almost time for the bell. Then I heard a noise in the parking lot. It was screechy brakes. And so I looked out the window and I saw the bus. It was coming to get me. Oh no, I said kind of loud. Now I'm going to get chocolate milk poured on my head. And then I chewed on my fingers. Get in line, said Mrs. When we get outside, I want all of my bus students to come with me. The rest of you must go to the crossing guard. Everyone was lining up. I was the very last one. Just then the bell rang and Mrs. marched out the door. Then everybody else marched out too. Except, guess what? I didn't. Uh-oh. Now chapter 6 makes sense. It's called A Good Hider. When you're the very last one in line, nobody watches you. That's how come nobody saw me when I ducked behind the teacher's desk and hid. I'm a good hider. One time at Grandma Miller's house, I hid under the kitchen sink. Then I made a growly sound and I sprung out at her. I'm not allowed to do that anymore. Anyway, I stayed scrunched behind the teacher's desk for a while. And then I saw a better place to hide. It was the big supply closet in the back of the room. And so I ran back there very fast. And I squeezed onto the bottom shelf. I squeezed right on top of the construction paper. Most of me was comfortable, except my head was sort of very tight, and my knees were all bended, like when I do a somersault. A hider. Uh-oh, what could that mean? Then I pulled the door mostly closed. Don't shut it all the way, though. And I mean it, I said right out loud. I stayed real quiet for lots of minutes. Then I heard noises in the hall, and some feet came running into the room. Big people's feet, I think. What happened? I heard someone ask. One of my little girls is lost, said a voice that sounded like Mrs. Her name is Junie B. Jones, and she didn't get on the bus. So now we've got to go out looking for her. Then I heard some keys jingle, and then feet went running out again, and then the door shut. I still didn't come out of the closet, though. When you're a good hider, you can't come out for a very, very long time. I just stayed there all bended up, and I told myself a story. Not an out loud story. I just told it inside my head. It was called The Little Hiding Girl. I made it up, and this is how it went. Once upon a time, there was a little hiding girl. She was in a secret spot where nobody could find her, except her head was very tight and her brain was squishing out. But still, she didn't come out of her spot, or a smelly yellow monster would get her, and also some meanies with chocolate milk. The end. After that, I rested my eyes. Resting your eyes is what my grandpa does when he watches TV after dinner. Then he snores, and Grandma Miller says, "Go to bed, Frank." It's not the same thing as a nap, though, because naps are for babies, that's why. And anyway, I didn't snore. I just did a little drool. Then finally my eyes were done resting. They woke up. And so I came out of the closet and ran right to the window. And guess what? There weren't any cars in the parking lot. And no silly, smelly bus either. Whew! That's a relief, I said. A relief is when your stomach doesn't feel squeezy anymore. After that, I went back to the closet, because while I was hiding, I sniffed the smell of clay. And clay is my very favorite thing in the whole world. Hey, I see it up there, I said. The clay was on the middle shelf. I stood on a chair to get it. It was blue and stiff, and so I had to roll it on the floor to make it soft and warm. Then I rolled it into a blue orange. It was very beautiful, except it had some dirt and hair on it. After I was done, I went to the front of the room and sat down in my teacher's big chair. I like teachers' desks very much. The drawers are so big, I could fit in one, I think. I opened up the top one. There were happy face stickers and rubber bands and also gold stars, which I love a very lot. I stuck one on my forehead. Then I found paper clips and red marking pens and new pencils with no points and scissors and travel tissues. And guess what else? Chalk, I said. Brand new chalk that's not even out of this little box yet. Then I stood up on my teacher's chair and clapped my hands together very loud. I want everybody to find a chair and sit down. Today we are going to learn some alphabet and some reading. And also I will teach you how to make a blue orange. But first, everyone has to watch me draw stuff. Then I went to the board and drew with my brand new chalk. I drew a bean and a carrot and some curly hair. Then I wrote some O's. O's are my best letter. After that I bowed. Thank you very much, I said. Now you may all go out for recess. I smiled, except for not that Jim. Well, there you go. Those are our 2 chapters for today. Tomorrow we'll read Peeky Holes and Spying. That's chapter 7. And chapter 8 is The Dangerous Nurse's Office. Oh my goodness. I wonder what could happen next. And that's something for you to think about the rest of today, maybe tomorrow. And when we get back together, you'll have an idea in your head what you think is coming next. Well, my friends, I enjoyed spending time with you today. I hope you enjoyed it. I can't wait to see you tomorrow. And please, 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 always remember, I love you. I want you to be successful. That will not change.